Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Yes, it is time that we shall begin. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a fun-filled and very exciting episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And let me tell you, with today's news that I have for you in this podcast episode, it's gonna be absolutely wild. I got some real crazy stories for you, and so much so that this is something that, of course, I cannot do this alone. Yes, it is time that I bring in a special guest star. It's been a little while, so why not go ahead and just bring someone new? So I have with me another animation reviewer, but this one has actually been very well known for her reviews, and if I do say so myself, they are actually pretty solid. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, Cellspex. Cell, what is up?
Hi, Matt. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I am doing absolutely fabulous today, and I'm all ready to go ahead and start this episode. And, however, I would say, before I begin, I just want to give a quick word about a tragic event that has happened this week that, unfortunately, the YouTuber Etika has sadly passed away, and it really made a lot of big news around the internet, and I do feel like I need to pretty much address this situation. Of course, I probably said this already, but he has unfortunately committed suicide, so this is something about an issue that we need to address regarding mental illness. And also, with the passing of Etika, it also teaches us a very important lesson that not many people talk about regarding how we often treat other content creators. Now, this is something that not many people think about, but often, with the way that the internet can be, how we're often treated as content creators, it can get pretty nasty, and you gotta realize that we are also human as well, and your words can actually hurt. Your words can actually affect us how we feel, positively or negatively. I'm sure you've faced those scenarios before, Sal?
The topic?
Yeah, well, regarding, like, being treated as a content creator.
Yeah, definitely. There's instances where you run into a lot of people that don't kind of acknowledge you as human.
Mm-hmm.
And there are just people that think that they can say literally anything they want to about you just because, in their mind, your purpose is to serve them. You don't have any of your own desires or your own motivations for doing things. You are strictly there to be at the service of the audience all the time, and ergo you are just basically the dumping ground for all of their crap. And that is an absolutely horrible way that people treat a lot of people who make a living online. And I wish that a lot of people could at least take a breath and just acknowledge that, again, who you're talking to is a real person.
Exactly. I think that's an important thing to note, and especially with the way that Etika has been treated throughout the years, often made fun of and stuff like that. I'm sure, and especially how other YouTubers as well, especially those drama channels, how they would treat him. Like, it's pretty, it can get pretty nasty. So with that said, may Etika rest in peace, and hopefully he will have fun in the next life.
I certainly hope so.
But with that said, alright, so now that we have our grievances out of the way, I think now it's time that we can get into the real meat of the episode, and we should get this started. But before I do, I would like to ask, Cell, are you ready for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? And also, Chatwall, are you all ready to start this episode? Let me hear it.
I have no idea, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
That's perfect. That's exactly the motivation that we all need. We have no idea what we're doing, but we might as well go and do it anyways. And I see the chat wall is all prepared. That is perfect. And now we are going to go and get this one started. And with our first story that we got right over here, we are going to be discussing about the Disney live-action remakes. Yes, a beloved topic that many people highly enjoy. But in all... Yeah, in all seriousness, though, we do see a massive boost in popularity, especially during this time, considering that Aladdin has become a big hit. We're going to get The Lion King soon, and already 2 years ago, we got Beauty and the Beast. So, of course, the most successful ones seem to be the Disney films that came out during the early Disney Renaissance. But there is one, however, that has yet to be touched, but Disney is still on it, and that is regarding The Little Mermaid. Now, when you think about the idea of a Little Mermaid live-action remake, do you feel like it sounds like a good idea for you or not?
It's a better idea than Hunchback and lots of the others that they apparently already have hanging in the wing.
Well, yeah, I guess in a way. But what's interesting to note is that we don't necessarily know who's going to be among the cast yet, which is something a lot of people are currently talking about. But it seems that we got one person right now who could be eligible for a highly beloved villain. And I'm talking, of course, about Ursula. Yes, Disney is currently in talks with Melissa McCarthy in order to have the possibility to have her play as Ursula in Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. Now, as I stated, we don't have any confirmations regarding literally anyone else who would be among the cast who would play as Ariel, Eric, Sebastian, or anything like that, but we do have some confirmation regarding the crew. Now, we already know regarding Alan Menken and Lin-Manuel Miranda playing as the playing as the songwriters. They're going to help out craft the songs, bring new life to the originals, and also make some new ones. On top of Lin-Manuel Miranda being a producer. But on top of that, it has been confirmed that Rob Marshall, who has recently directed Mary Poppins Returns, he is going to be coming back to be the director of this film with a script written by David McGee. Now, from there, I guess that would be all to say is that there is no confirmation as of yet if Melissa McCarthy is going to be as Ursula, but we know that seems to be the plan that Disney wants to do. So, Cell, just out of curiosity, how do you feel about maybe having Melissa McCarthy as Ursula?
Well, first of all, I wish that we knew exactly who approached who, I guess, in this situation. It would change a lot about how I feel about it, depending on whether did Disney ask Melissa, or even if they probably did ask her first, but if Melissa actively wants to do it. Because in talks is kind of a vague term. In general, my reaction to it is, boy, that sounds like an incredibly safe option that Disney probably spent no thought beyond 5 seconds thinking about who's going to play Ursula. What's the first thing you think of Ursula? Oh, she's fat. Who's a plus-size actress? It's obviously Melissa McCarthy. We don't need to think anymore about how to cast this. Let's just go with that. Which is very disappointing. I know that a lot of people are not happy about this. A lot of people know because of Ursula's origins, they want like possibly
they
even
want a
just
drag
for
queen?
Yes. They want even preferably a black drag queen. Like a lot of people were naming the person from Kimmy Schmidt, and I'm like, that sounds amazing. That sounds really great. That sounds like a really interesting dynamic in a way that would both be very much like the original, but still be different. And again, as somebody who has watched Melissa McCarthy since Gilmore Girls, since before all the movies, I know that that is a bubbly personality. That is personality-wise, that is nothing like Ursula. And I get it. Of course, she's an actress, and she might literally be wanting to do this as a way to challenge herself. She may be tired of doing the big girl that falls over routine, and she really wants to like stretch her legs and get to known for something big. And again, if if it's my feelings on this would be very different if I knew exactly how Melissa herself felt about this. And already I'm just thinking, it's like, this is what Disney live action remakes do. They make very obvious casting choices because this is something that they're trying to do as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I do see your point, but I think it's not necessarily Melissa McCarthy wanting to do it and asking Disney. I got a strong feeling it's more Disney asking Melissa McCarthy. In fact, reading from my source here in Variety, it even stated, as Disney preps up its live action version of The Undersea Tale, there's a lot of buzz about the cast. Disney and the production team behind it are looking to make contemporary and compelling casting choices while still paying homage to the beloved animated original. And I feel like, honestly, the idea of having Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, it's the similar kind of casting choice as Will Smith as the genie in the live-action Aladdin, where at that point, it's really trying to sell on the name, because we know about Melissa McCarthy, and in a way, yeah, like with Ursula, it's a little bit different, but in a way, I could see how it could really be something that could massively sell tickets. It could be something that, yeah, it's an obvious choice, but it's obvious to the point that it's the kind of thing that people want to be intrigued to go and check out. Like, oh, I want to see Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. See, you know, I want to see a purple octopus Melissa McCarthy. But from there, I could see, like, one thing I will admit is that, yeah, there are definitely better choices up there, and I would be so down to see a drag queen play as Ursula. But I will give Disney that Melissa McCarthy is not necessarily the worst choice, since she has proven before she can sing, and she does, you know, I don't know if it sounds bad, but she does look the part a bit. Like, you could see her morph into Ursula in a way, just hopefully without too much CGI that's integrated. So in a way, I can see it. I could see it work a little bit, but I do agree there are better options out there. Probably the best option would be, you know, just not do the remake at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, exactly. Just re-release the Little Mermaid on like, just re-release the animated film in theaters. We'll be happy with it. But yeah, honestly, it's just. I am a little bit mixed, but I could see where this is the same kind of direction where they just want to bring her in the same ways that they brought Will Smith as the genie to really make her a selling point, more so than, like, to bring Ursula to life.
Right. Actually, as you said that, my wheels started turning, and I'm thinking, like, no, you're totally right that, like, I still think that this was the obvious choice. I still think this was done primarily for the purposes of finding most well-known celebrities that have huge social media followings and whatever. But there's also, and I still think that, you know, personality-wise and even just face-wise, like, she just has such a nice, happy face that just seems very un-Ursula, except if you went with the slight possibility, and I'm giving them a lot of leeway here, of whether or not they might change the perception of Ursula in the context of the film. Like, what if she's not an obviously kind of angry-faced looking bitter sea witch? What if they actually play her sympathetically? She says, like, wasn't there like a whole thing where, like, there was, like, originally a thing where, like, Ursula and Triton were supposed to be siblings, and so a whole thing, like, I wasn't as pretty as everyone else, so they cast me out. And it's like, you don't belong either. Can't we help each other out? It's like, I can actually see that working. But you know what? Then I think about the legacy of the live action remakes, and you know what? That sounds just a little bit too interesting for Disney screenwriters to even try. That just sounds a little bit too much like an actual intriguing direction instead of something super boring. So I don't.
You do bring up a very good point that I can see them do something a little bit different with Ursula to make it a little bit more like, have it be Melissa McCarthy's Ursula, because thinking back into something like in Aladdin, the way that they handled Jafar is a lot more different than the animated film, where the live action version is a lot more warmongering, and he's kind of like motivated to go into wars. It's like, we need to get this territory. But like, it's just like, in the Aladdin remake, however, what really screwed up about Jafar, a lot of it has to do with the performance. Like, man, that actor is just oof. Man, that's just weak right there. But also, of course, not just the execution, but even some of the ideas behind it. It just doesn't necessarily work. So I do agree. I'm sure Disney is going to be changing things up with the Ursula character to have it be a little bit more accustomed to Melissa McCarthy. But rather, if that's going to work or not, I don't know, really. That we'll just have to wait and see. But like, considering our experience with the live action remake, we have our doubts.
Yes, definitely. And again, this is just talks. This is not confirming anything. So we don't know exactly how anything's going to go. For all we know, like, I mean, Lion King's obviously not going to bomb. Lion King's going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
But who knows? But like Dumbo didn't do that great. So whatever, like Lion King's kind of like their biggest property to make a live action thing out of. And after that, I think that, and because so much of the press around Lion King right now is about how not great it necessarily looks. I mean, outside of, oh my God, it's impressive photorealism, but I can't tell any of these lions apart as characters.
Yeah.
I just don't think that after Lion King makes $1 billion, I think that the whole live action thing might take a bit of a slide. So who knows? Someone might actually have an interesting other idea of a movie they could make that's not this, but probably not.
I highly doubt it, because they still got a lot in the lineup. Like, we know that Mulan is going to be in 2020, and then of course the idea.
Yeah, but that's already in production, so we're gonna get that anyway. But
yeah, no, but then we also got sequels. Like we got Maleficent 2 coming up, and then
that's right.
Yeah, and then also like they're considering that, okay, after Jon Favreau does Lion King, they might consider him doing Jungle Book 2.
Oh, okay then.
So well, if you want a live action remake of the Jungle Boogie.
It's like they keep making them because we keep buying them, folks. Think about what you're doing.
Pretty much. I mean that's the thing. When a movie becomes a hit, who's it to blame? Is it the movie or is it the person buying the ticket? Just saying. But
that's a whole other debate.
Yeah, that is true. But overall, with the idea of like the possibility of Melissa McCarthy playing as Ursula, like, I wouldn't object to it. It's not the worst idea. Like, I can understand how divisive that can pretty much be, considering that with Melissa McCarthy, and I'm not necessarily saying this as a bad thing, she really is the female Adam Sandler, where she is a very successful actress, very well known for her comedies, but when it comes to audiences' reactions, they're very divided. You got people that absolutely adore her, or people that absolutely hate her. So I can imagine that just having Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, it will be something that's as divided as a live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, but I would say not necessarily the worst idea, and I guess, I don't know, considering that they are well forward with this production, we'll have to wait and see. And considering that they are bringing, like, the fact that we got more news out of this live-action remake, that it officially has a director, it officially has a writer, considering, like, they're more serious into making this, so I think it's more of a wait and see kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're right. It's not the worst decision, only in the way that nothing is technically the worst decision until the movie actually comes out and we see it. But it does, at least, obviously I haven't read all the comments on this topic, but I am glad that most of the discussion is more about the matter of, why not a drag queen, and not just like, oh, not Melissa McCarthy, I don't like her, Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, those comments. Let go of that Ghostbusters, man. It's just a movie.
Let it. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't
Last Jedi.
Oh God. Not again. Not again, damn it. No, but yeah, overall, I would like it if it were like a drag queen as well. And considering that I have seen some drag queen productions where some people literally did dress up like Ursula, and oh my God, they can.
Oh yeah, that's one of the best. That's huge in that scene. So I think that's another thing. It's literally so huge in that scene that I think it feels people feel particularly strong recommending it for this role in particular.
Well, yeah, and it's also because that's the only real chance like someone like that would even have a chance to be in a major Disney film, because it wouldn't happen anywhere else. Exactly.
So So I totally get that.
Yeah, and it would be like great LGBT or drag representation, and it's something that not just for Disney, but in movies in general, it's extremely rare to get unless you actually got an actual unless you actually got a movie about drag queens, or unless John Waters is directing it. So yeah, with all that said, though, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you guys, what do you think about the possibility of having Melissa McCarthy playing as Ursula in the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid? Are you in support of this idea? Are you against this idea? Do you think it'll intrigue you in watching it? Do you think it will detract you from watching it? Let me know what you think. Okay, so let's start off with, I'll go with this one. I'm noticing a pattern with these remakes. Most of them are from the Disney Renaissance: Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and maybe Mulan, I think. Yeah, and Mulan. As for Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, she actually doesn't seem that bad. I just hope they don't screw up her character like Jafar in the Aladdin remake, where the actor is sexy and cute and the performance sucks. Oh my god, yeah, that was a major thing when they revealed like how the characters look in Aladdin, and everybody was freaking out about Jafar. Oh god. Yeah, that wiped away quickly when it's time to go and act. Bodies and looks ain't everything, you know. All right, let's see.
Yes, look doesn't matter in a live action film. Jesus.
While Melissa McCarthy is a good choice to play the live-action version of Ursula, however, if I was directing the new Little Mermaid reboot, my choice would have been Judi Dench, because her voice is perfect for the role. What do you think of my Judi Dench choice? Dame Judi Dench? I think she would be a little too old for Ursula, don't you think?
It depends on what incarnation they would be going for, but yeah, that seems a little up there.
Yeah, well, considering how we've seen all these live action remakes, they're going to be a little bit more direct and almost shot for shot in a sense. So if they want to stay true to Ursula, would Judi Dench fit the part?
Not really, not in any conceivable way.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's like. Again, everything needs to be recognizable from the original.
Yeah.
We can't possibly confuse it because, well, again, I think it's also with stuff like this, and also I think part of the reason why they're sticking with the Renaissance is because a lot of these stories now are public domain, which means that other people can technically make stories like this. I mean, Jungle Book technically is a book, so they need to make everything very recognizably Disney, so people recognize it, as opposed to if anyone else made any other versions of it.
Yeah, but you forgot about one more crucial thing: nostalgia. Like the Disney Renaissance films, they hit nostalgia harder than most of the other remakes.
Duh, that's right, because children. Yep, nope, that's right.
Exactly. Let's see. I'm not sold on the idea of having Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Melissa McCarthy is a bad actress. She does make some good performances unless she received the right material, such as Spy for comedies and Can You Ever Forgive Me in drama. I just don't think she fits the role. I feel like they should have gone for either Lady Gaga or Queen Latifah to play, since both were, when it comes to in movies. That's my opinion. Queen Latifah, that would not have been a bad choice, actually. Like, I could see Queen Latifah do the part.
I only think this is just in terms of how they would display the character, because the big difference between Ursula's persona and Miss McCarthy is that she's like perky and cute and happy, and Queen Latifah is also kind of, in terms of, I obviously haven't seen everything Queen Latifah, but she's very bombastic and also very happy. So again, that's still persona wise a little bit of a departure.
Yeah, okay, I do see your point. I do see your point. Like, it's not like, well, I'm not saying it's a great choice, but it wouldn't be a bad choice either.
Oh yeah, no. Again, none of these are bad choices until the movie actually comes out. I totally buy that. And there is a certain degree where even speculating on cast, I think that, the whole thing about people speculating on cast is always kind of very prejudgmental, just because You don't know. It could be great.
Well, I mean, you could pretty much assume anything at this point until the movie actually does come out. Like, when you're at this stage, you can't be right or wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and declare whether or not I think this thing is going to be good or bad. And that way, when the movie actually comes out, I can tell people I told them so. And that will make me impressive to absolutely nobody.
Oh, trust me, there is one upcoming story that we have that we will cover that so much. Oh boy, I can't wait to get into that one. Anyways, I'll read one more until we jump on to the next one. I'm not going to see the new Little Mermaid, but even with me worrying about the CG on Ursula, judging by Beast and Genie, the casting decision does sound like a so-so fit. I'd even argued it'd be more fun to see McCarthy play with fish than with Muppets. As for the rest of the cast, I don't know who'd be a decent fit for Ariel, but I would call for a boycott if Sean Paul isn't cast as Sebastian. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like, I guess, like, we'll have to wait and see with the other casting. Like, I'm sure... Well, the only other big one is going to be Ariel, and that's pretty much it. Like, other than that, it's not necessarily going to be that big of a deal of who's going to be playing as King Triton or Sebastian or even Eric.
It's like, I don't know. The minute somebody said Sebastian, it's like, I bet $500 they're going to ask Idris Elba. He's such a Disney boy right now.
A bit, but no, Sebastian, they gotta go with someone who's, like, more recognizably, like, comical so much. Like, I could see Kevin Hart before, Kevin...
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, like, Kevin Hart before Idris Elba.
I guess so, no.
I guess we'll... Tiny fish? Come at me, tiny fish!
Hopefully not Kevin Hart. That's like, but the accent, Kevin Hart doing Jamaican.
Oh god.
No.
I don't know. All I can imagine is just gonna be like, you put Kevin Hart as Sebastian, you're just gonna have like a Jamaican snowball. That's all I can imagine.
Oh boy. Okay.
Alright, I think we're pretty much all good with this one. And now it is time we're going to be jumping on to our next story, in which we shall be talking about another Disney movie, but hopefully in a more positive manner. Let us discuss about Toy Story 4. By the way, Cell, on a side note, you have yet to release your review. Have you seen the movie yet?
Yes, I have. I did see it the day that... I didn't get to see early screenings.
Yeah. For me, at least,
I have seen it.
Hard to get.
Yeah. Oh no, I live in an area where I have none. There are no early screenings unless it's literally nationwide. So,
I see.
No, I saw it. The video is definitely like, it's either going to be up later tonight or tomorrow. It's just, I have a thing where where I write my scripts, and during the course of editing, I constantly rewrite them. So, which is why my videos can take so long. So, it's like, I don't feel the same way about that as I did like an hour ago. I better change it.
Yeah. I do get what you mean, but I don't know. Would you want to save all your opinions for when the review comes out, or could you give us a little bit of your thoughts on Toy Story 4?
No, generally speaking, I enjoyed it a lot. A lot of the conversation is surrounding around, whether or not it's necessary, and no movie or sequel is necessary, guys. Okay, so that, first of all.
Well, you got a point.
And but on a purely objective level, there are definitely things that I have a whole thing in the video where I talk about my opinions on the other Toy Story movies, and well, that's a brief part. And generally speaking, like, I enjoyed it. I did not enjoy it necessarily on the same level as my favorite Toy Story movie. There's a lot of great stuff in it. There's also some things in it that are not inferior, but just different.
Okay.
In general, on a vague sense, no, I liked it. It's definitely not my favorite. I'm fine with it ending here. If they make a Toy Story 5, then what are we going to do about it?
Be my guest, I guess.
There's worse things they could make. There are also better things, but there you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, just the fact that they made it this good even after Toy Story 3, it's like a whole miracle in itself. But what I would like to talk about regarding Toy Story 4 is actually how it was doing at the box office. And surprisingly or not, it really broke some major records. Well, one in particular, actually. Toy Story 4 has broken the box office record for the biggest global box office opening for an animated feature. While it may not have necessarily broken records in terms of the domestic box office, as it did open up with $120.9 million, it did, however, appealed to people all around the world to make a grand total of $238 million on its first weekend alone, breaking Incredibles 2's record of $235.8 million. And from there, already on its first weekend alone, it managed to make more money than most of the, or almost all the other animated features that we got this year, including The Secret Life of Pets 2. Like, just starting off on its first weekend, boom, it just topped it off right there. So, I'm just out of curiosity, Cell, do you think it's surprising or not the fact that Toy Story 4 is so far doing extremely well?
It's, I guess, more of a matter of the difference between domestic and foreign is more interesting. Just in cases of, that when it's definitely an impressive number, but then you're reminded of, how good Incredibles did, and it doesn't shock me that some people are kind of like, it's good, but in terms of international, that's interesting, just because obviously I'm not gonna, don't quote me on this, but because I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but the general sense I get is that when it comes to overseas, like in America cares about, Disney legacy pieces way more than people overseas. Overseas, people really like Pixar stuff. And of course, Toy Story naturally being like, there's been 3 of them. It's one of the most well-known of their brand. So that makes sense, that how it's done particularly well overseas. And here, I think, and in domestically, I think that it's like, all things considered, still did really well. But again, when it's 4, and I think that people just thought that 3 was such a clean ending, and I just think they thought, it's like, I feel like that was the point, and I don't feel, and enough people, I guess, didn't feel like they absolutely needed to go back into the well. I think a lot of people just didn't feel the need to see it right away, I think is the point. Like, people have been waiting for an Incredibles 2, like, literally since the first Incredibles came out. Like, there's reasons why that made bank.
Oh, yeah.
And for Toy Story, I think I can say, like, when Toy Story 4 was announced, or when it came out, like, I liked it in terms, I was looking forward to it in the way of, like, well, this is definitely going to be one of the best movies I'm going to see this year, just looking at this year's films. But in terms of whether or not I was excited for it, I was not excited necessarily to see it. I could have taken or leaved it.
Yeah, you do bring up a very good point, because a lot of box office analysts stated that it did underperform than what they expected, because they were thinking that with Toy Story 4 that they would make something like $140 million or somewhere around that line. But it didn't necessarily reach that number because of what you stated, because you and many other people felt like, oh, well, we don't necessarily need a Toy Story 4, so, like, people are a lot more cautious than they are optimistic regarding this movie.
Mm-hmm.
That, and also, with the numbers that they have compared it, those are numbers that they looked with how Finding Dory did and how Incredibles 2 did, and that's why it seemed like they did overshot that. Now, just saying, though, having an opening of $120.9 million, that's absolutely phenomenal. Like, it still did fantastically. It still did absolutely beautifully at the box office, so there's no real complaints there. In fact, like, this is so far one of the more successful movies that we got this year. But the fact that it didn't necessarily perform as well, I guess it's like, it's just too much to go and expect. But considering that now we are at the point where so far the movie is getting massive praise, and now we're at the point that a lot of good word of mouth is going to be spread around, I think, like, so far it's going to be something that the real money is going to come in for the weeks to come. Like, this is going to be something that
Mhm.
will build up throughout the week. And also, on top of that, what is very important to note is that there is one thing that Toy Story 4 got a massive advantage, is the fact that in the following weeks to come, there's not going to be much of a family film or even an animated film. The next family movie is going to be The Lion King, which won't be out for like a few weeks. And the next animated film won't be until the Angry Birds
August.
movie.
Yeah.
The Angry Birds movie 2 in mid-August. So Toy Story 4 has a lot of time to go and accumulate its cash. And that's why I am pretty much, I am confident as a fact that this movie is going to make over $1 billion. No problem at all.
Oh yeah, it's not a matter of, whether or not it's going to bring in profit. I guess the biggest question in terms of projection would be ultimately the question of whether or not they would make a 5. If they get the sense that the audience is dwindling, that may alter that eventual decision. But you're totally right. There's not another family or animated film coming for a while, so it definitely has room to grow. Its biggest obstacle in the next week is obviously going to be Spider-Man, in terms of something that could possibly steal some of its money. But that's technically PG-13. That's not family. So, but no, it's still going to be the thing in theaters for the next month until Lion King comes out. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, but also, just a little side thing that I would like to mention is that one of the places that it brought up that it did surprisingly underperform is actually in China. Now, you mentioned before how in other places of the world, they actually prefer Pixar more so than Disney. China is actually one of them. But what's very interesting to note is that on the opening of Toy Story 4, it didn't actually do all that great because it was overshadowed, believe it or not, by the first official Chinese release of Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away. So that I feel like is a very interesting thing to go and mention, considering that now we got two major events clashing, and the Chinese have to go and decide which one would they prefer to see, the Hayao Miyazaki film that for the first time now they can see it legitimately without downloading it illegally, or do they want to see another adventure with Toy Story? So that's a very fascinating aspect in one country where Toy Story 4 isn't necessarily doing as strong as expected, probably, but still, it doesn't. But then again, it doesn't necessarily hinder on any of its performance.
Yeah, and I heard that news too, and I literally, my response was, I'm okay with this.
Let's be honest. If there is one movie that should beat out Toy Story 4, might as well go literally with the best of the best with Spirited Away.
Exactly. No, I'm both totally fine hearing that, and I also thought, but you're totally right. China especially is one of the places that really likes Toy Story. So that is somewhat surprising. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, so I don't know how much did it leave it in the dust? Was it a hair's line? I don't know.
I think
but I'm glad. But in terms of but also Spirited Away has had a long, and especially I'm happy to hear that because despite the fact of how huge Spirited Away is, Miyazaki movies and anime movies just do not do well in American movie theaters, which is sad. They do Ghibli Fest happen every single year in various theaters, which I'm always glad to see because they should.
Yeah.
So I'm always glad for Spirited Away to get more praise, and I'm just glad that, especially if that's its first official thing, I'm glad to see people supporting it.
Yeah. And it's actually just recently that China was doing it. I think it was December of last year that they were beginning to officially release Studio Ghibli films onto China. They started out with My Neighbor Totoro, and now the next step is going to be Spirited Away, which they got right now. And also for Ghibli Fest. I mean, I love it that G Kids is actually doing it, and I even get it in my theaters, which is why I think it was either last year or 2 years ago. I actually did go see Spirited Away in theaters, and oh my god, it was such a beautiful experience. Like, I'm glad that I could say that, like, I saw one of the best animated films on the big screen. I mean, how else would you want to see that?
I'm glad I saw it on the big screen when it first came out. I was one of the few.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's also a great benefit. Like, not many people are gonna be there. Like, you got a whole freaking theater for yourself, so, like, why not take benefit? It's like, this is my room, and I'm gonna watch this movie on the big screen.
It's like, it's gonna be in the theater, at least see it in the theater for as long as we have theaters.
Pretty much, but yeah, overall at this point, I think going back to Toy Story 4, I think we're at the point where things really are looking up for Toy Story 4. I could see it do very well in the future, even with the obstacle of Spider-Man Far From Home. It'll still do fine. Like, it'll still capture that. It'll still get that family-friendly market for them to go see it. Like, the big boys are gonna go see Far From Home, and then the little kids are gonna go and check out Toy Story 4 for the time being until we got The Lion King.
Neat.
Yeah, okay, there you are. Alright, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall once again, and I would like to ask you guys, how do you feel about Toy Story 4's new record? Do you feel like it completely deserves it? Did you expect that it would do more? How do you think it's going to do in the future? And do you think it might have a chance to go into the big leagues of animated films and be among one of the record breakers to see if maybe it could get the highest grossing animated feature of all time? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. Honestly, I highly doubt it, but we'll see. Okay. Let's see. I'm not really that surprised on the fact Toy Story 4 did so well. After all, it is Toy Story. But I would be interested in just giving my thoughts on the movie, since there are some sort of controversial, and I'm interested in knowing what all of you think about them. In my opinion, this movie was very weak and disappointing. The first 3 Toy Story movies were an important part of my childhood, and I was really looking forward to this one, and I was seriously disappointed. Okay, well. And then, like, the comment kind of stopped from there. Okay. Alright, let's see what else do we got. Okay. No wonder why they will send money faster than tipping on the donation jar. But what will break Incredibles 2's box office record was Toy Story 4 come out just 8 days after Toy Story 3's release in 9 years. Hopefully the legacy will move on just like Anastasia. Okay. Let's see. Congratulations to Toy Story 4 breaking that record, but I am worried about one thing. Will this cause Toy Story 5 to be greenlit? But then again, a 5th film nowadays tends to be the bombing point for a franchise. Take Ice Age Collision and Transformers Last Night, for example.
There's evidence. That is solid evidence.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even horror franchises which expect low returns start bombing after that.
Yeah.
It would still probably make the most money a 5th installment ever made, but
well, I mean, knowing Disney, I feel like they gotta wait a bit. Like, considering that it took them 9 years to go from Toy Story 3 to Toy Story 4, they can't immediately jump onto Toy Story 5 like 3 years later.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
Like, if they want to have a bit of profitability on that, then honestly, I feel like this is probably something that they'll have to wait for like a whole decade before even considering having a Toy Story 5.
Well, even then, I know one of the things, like, Toy Story 5 would be difficult in another 10 years anyway, just because all of the actors are getting really old.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
So that's one giant wall there. There's obviously things that they could do feasibly if they wanted to break out with original characters, but I just don't think that's not how you make franchises. That's not why people go to sequels to see new characters. So the more you really think about it, I just don't think that I do not think Toy Story 5 would happen. That doesn't mean it won't. I'm looking at all the evidence and I just don't think so.
Okay, yeah. Good point. I mean, honestly, I'm at the point that after Toy Story 4, I'm more of a we'll wait and see attitude. Like, if they're going to make a fifth, okay, I'm fine with that. If they're not, okay, I'm fine with that. At least we got four great movies.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm not surprised. This is a sequel to a Pixar movie, and most Pixar sequels tend to make tons of money. I mean, look at Incredibles 2. Toy Story 4 definitely deserves that money for how great the film it is. The story is amazing, the animation is impressive, and the characters are memorable and enjoyable, old and new. Although I don't think Toy Story 4 is going to make so much money compared to, I guess, how Frozen 2 will be. Also, I will say Toy Story 4, let me just say that Lotso is still the superior Toy Story villain. Well, if you have seen the movie, I mean, I guess, I'm not going to say it's debatable against Gabby.
It depends on how you like your villain payoffs to be, and it depends on your definition of villain.
Yeah, because with Gabby is a very complex definition of a villain.
Mm-hmm. And in it, oh my god, I think my favorite thing about that whole thing was that everyone who said Bo was going to be the villain.
Oh god.
And also that Bo was going to be the twist villain, and it's like, you all are morons.
Yes. Honestly, that's one thing I am so glad about. Like, for me, I think it would honestly ruin the whole movie for me if they did that. Like, turn Bo.
Oh god, that would be horrible. But I mean, I don't blame people. I don't blame people for that being like an exaggerated thing just because of the inherent exhaustion about twist villains of Disney in general.
Yeah.
I don't blame people for kind of like at that point being slightly cynical about it. But I'm still glad that that's not what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think at this point even Disney kind of knows. At least I hope so. I think even they get it's like I think after Incredibles 2 and everybody's twist villain thing just like snapped.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. I mean, like say what you will about Ralph Breaks the Internet, at least that one doesn't have a twist villain.
But again, technically based on your definition of villain.
Yeah.
Or rather, obstacle.
Yeah, good point. Good point. All right, let me just get a little bit of water.
You can technically make the argument on like just very basic technicals, but like you can make the argument.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now I want to go and jump onto the next story, and oh my god, I think out of all of them, this is going to be the craziest. And this will be a little bit of a bonus miscellaneous, because this will be a little bit of an update to one of the stories that I talked about last week. And Sel, just out of curiosity, I would like to ask you, do you have any interest regarding theme parks or like the Disney parks and stuff like that?
I like the Disney parks a lot. I actually had, there was a period of time a couple years ago, there was like a 2-year period where I went to Disney World like 7 times. But that was because I was considering moving there. And so I was kind of bouncing back and forth between there anyway. And so I kind of I thought I was going to move there. So I bought an annual pass. So I thought I might as well go down there since I have it. I think that I like got mildly burned out after going so often in a short period of time. And I haven't been back to Disneyland since I was 12, and I'd like to go back there. Yeah. No, but I like Disney parks a lot. I know a lot about the Disney parks. I like them a lot.
Okay, so with that said, you're probably familiar about last week's rumor that kind of exploded regarding Country Bear Jamboree might be closing down in order to be replaced with a Toy Story marionette show at Walt Disney World. Have you heard of that?
I did hear very vague things about that. I admit, like park news, I get kind of indirectly. Okay. Like obviously, like tons of Galaxy's Edge stuff. Obviously, I did hear that though. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, apparently, it seems that another one actually popped up from the same source that brought you the rumor of the Country Bears. And this one has to do with the Enchanted Tiki Room. Yes, apparently, according to WDW News Today, they have stated something very similar to the Country Bears rumor. This time, however, stating that for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, they would completely replace Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room in favor of having a Moana show. And they didn't necessarily go into details, but they stated just that. And the tempo of it, even the article itself, it's pretty much the same thing, coming from the same guy, Tom Corliss, and just talking about the possibility of, like, changing that up in order to have the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. However, this one comes with a very interesting twist, because I don't know what the fridge is with the Enchanted Tiki Room, but that's the one that made Disney themselves snap. They were like, okay, that's it. We need to step up a bit. So according to the official Disney Parks blog, they actually wrote down, and I'm going to read from my source here, stating, "A little birdie told us that there were some rumors flying around about our beloved tiki birds at Walt Disney World Resort. We're sorry that our fans are being fed incorrect information by unscrupulous, is that how you say it? Yeah, unscrupulous sources. While two can play at this game, we deal in facts here at Disney Parks blog. Although we won't address every rumor, we want to set the record straight. There is no plan for our feathered friends to fly the coop anytime soon. We're constantly evolving our stories, but these birds will continue entertaining our guests at the Magic Kingdom Park just as they have done since 1971. Oh, but wait! There is more! We actually did get one quick little update just yesterday where they decided, you know what, considering that, okay, like, in this little article here about Tiki Room, like, you look down at the comments and most people were pretty much just asking, what about Country Bear Jamboree? And that's the point where Disney is like, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and address that as well. So let's read this article over here called About Country Bears at Disney Parks blog, saying, "Thanks for bearing with us this week. With all the news we've shared, we forgot to mention our friends over at the Country Bears. Our Imagineers are always looking for ways to bring more magic to our guests throughout experiences and stories they know, but contrary to rumors, Country Bear Jamboree is not going into hibernation anytime soon. In fact, we're looking forward to celebrating its 50th anniversary on October 1st, 2021 at Walt Disney World Resort with Henry, the Five Bear Rugs, and the rest of the gang. Until then, we hope that you'll be coming back again, that you'll drop in and see us now and then." So that's the big thing, is that Disney had to step in and they said enough is enough with these rumors. How do you feel about all this?
Well, first of all, I hate to even use to address the general concept of incorrect news. But that's kind of amazing that in terms of how many rumors are flying around. That's actually been a question I've had for a while. Like, how do rumors even happen? I mean, I'm sure it's like family members and acquaintances of people who work on it, with people just like casually talking about stuff that happened at work that day or stuff. But that's always a thing that's always bugged me, like how exactly they get these rumors and how exactly are they always to the point that, you know, whenever they announce stuff at like D3 or whatever, like half the things people already know. Yeah. So there's actually like a piece of me that wonders, like, that, you know, I don't know where the rumors came from. I don't know if Disney coming in and saying, nope, these are absolutely false, does it actually mean that they're actually false, or just something like in the so far pre planning stage that not going anywhere anytime soon can mean like anywhere from like the next 8 years or so. But we're thinking about it.
Yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, well, from what I've heard about the rumors aspect, they could come from many places. Just like you said, it could be like family and friends who are connected with people working at Walt Disney Imagineering. But from what I've read in other sources, they would say that usually rumors would come from cast members. And you got to keep in mind, though, that, yes, Disney has something of a policy when it comes to having cast members telling these things. Like, that's a major no-no. If you start spreading rumors like that, then you're dead. You're pretty much terminated. Okay, not your life maybe, but like you working at Disney.
We don't know. It's Disney. We don't know.
How else did they get how else did they get 999 ghosts at the Haunted Mansion? I'm just saying.
Oh my god, that's totally true.
Yeah, exactly. No, but apparently that's how they would go and start spreading rumors, is that usually they would come from cast members, and that's why they would say, well, according to my sources. That's why they're very vague when it comes to their sources. They just call them their sources, and that's pretty much it. But honestly, when it comes to this week, I don't blame Disney for responding to actually responding these rumors, because usually they would often stay silent with rumors, and they would be more of a wait and see kind of attitude. Like case in point, we still have yet to hear anything about Disney Plus and the possibility if the crow scene from Dumbo will still be in the Disney Plus version or not. But in this case,
I didn't know that was a thing. So,
yeah,
wow,
oh God, it was a big thing. But in this case over here, I don't blame Disney for actually, have to address that, because so far, ever since the rumors started spreading out about Country Bears, it's been nothing but a PR nightmare for Disney. The thing is that word spread out so quickly. The articles ended up being so viral from WDW News Today that Disney had to be dealing with so many people who were just frustrated, panicking, and just all around freaking out about the possibility that one of their beloved original attractions are going to be taken down in favor of something with an IP. Try to do something like replacing Maelstrom with a Frozen ride and stuff like that, considering that we are in an age where Disney is not as interested in developing original IPs for the Disney parks as much as they were back in like the late 60s and early 70s. So there is a little bit of validity considering Disney's track record right now, but considering that it is such a PR nightmare about the possibility that this could happen, they just had to step forward and say, no, we're not doing it. That is not in the plan. And even if it is in the plans, you have stated yourself that it would be very early in production. But actually, no, you know what? Come to think of it, no, it would not be. Because they stated, though both rumors actually stated, like the Enchanted Tiki Room one and the Country Bears one, they actually did state that it would be for Disney World's 50th anniversary. Like, in 2 years from now, on October 1st, 2021, they would open up a new Moana show or a new Toy Story marionette show.
Oh, well, they screwed up then.
Exactly.
So that's not... I'm sure Disney's super pissed about that.
Oh, well, of course they are pissed. Why else would they go and try to address these rumors immediately? Why else did they have to go and address that? It's been, this has just been giving them so much trouble. But what's actually the most insane thing about this? It's not the fact that WDW News Today brought up another rumor. And it's not even the fact that Disney actually, that Disney had to address this. It's actually WDW News' response to the Country Bears one. That they say they won! WDW News Today, and I think the website runner, the guy who's running the website, Tom Corliss, they're pretty much stating that we did it, guys! We won! We saved Country Bear Jamboree!
Wow!
You see on the website, even on their webpage, it says #Jamboree saved. And from there,
wow!
And they're pretty much saying, because of our website and because of the thousands of fans, we all saved Country Bear Jamboree. And I can tell you right now, the theme park community is not buying it. The WDW News Today is making a freaking embarrassment of themselves.
Oh my god!
Well,
I guess if we can't see all of the little individual files in the imagination, we can't technically prove that they're lying. But oh my god!
Exactly. No. But there's also another thing that's even crazier is that right now, WDW News Today is in a total blocking spree on Twitter. If there is anybody who is calling them out, then they are blocking them. I should know because, okay, what you see here, like, I'm not signed on to any account, but if I am signed on to my account, well, I can't really see much because so far they have blocked me. So that's the thing. They're pretty much blocking anyone. Yeah, they're blocking anyone who says otherwise. Like, if you stated, you didn't save Country Bear Jamboree, what are you talking about? Block. Like, it's either you're with them or you end up getting blocked. That's so far their reaction to the situation.
Wow. Oh my god. As if these days people didn't have a hard enough time trusting journalists. You shame.
Oh, yeah.
You shame.
Oh my-
How you are making the world a worse place. Jesus Christ. All right,
mean,
and I say this as somebody who always at least tries to keep in mind that even the craziest news story could possibly be true just because I am not all-knowing and I don't know everything. And it's not like it's not the only time where like somebody was going to do something and then the word got out and somebody went, nope. I'm not saying that that's never happened ever, but this is so
yeah,
we can't technically prove it, but this is such a dick move.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is such a dick move.
Honestly, I have never seen such a combination of stupidity and ego since Amid of CartoonBrew.com. Seriously. This is just this response alone is it's just nuts. It just adds an extra layer. And now we're at the point where, like, this whole rumor mill, the whole scenario with all these rumors, it just becomes absolutely comical. That really, the best way you want to address this, your best approach is, instead of admitting that you were wrong, you just want to go and say that we did it. You want to admit, like, somehow it's true. The rumors seem to be true.
It's the ego. It's the ego that's annoying. If they genuinely didn't care, if they genuinely believed that they were saving something, but they didn't care about being an egotistical nerd about it, that's not the right word. That's just what came out of my mouth. Then they would just keep their mouth shut. They would just be happy. It's like, good, I saved Country Bear Jamboree, go me. They wouldn't have to make a tool of themselves online like an egotistical jackass.
Yeah, no, but you know what's the weirdest thing is that, okay, they're going around trying to claim that, oh, we did it, we saved Country Bear Jamboree. Yet, may I ask, why aren't you doing the same thing with the Enchanted Tiki Room? Or rather, this isn't the first time that they spread a rumor and it turned out to be false. A few weeks ago, they actually spreaded a rumor regarding the possibility that in mid-2020, they would go and close down the land and the seas with Nemo and Friends at Epcot, which then Walt Disney World actually did have to come in and confirm that these rumors are actually false. So, like, okay, you're taking credit for Country Bear Jamboree. Why aren't you doing the same thing with the Enchanted Tiki Room? Why aren't you doing the same thing with the land and the seas? Like, there's a lot of inconsistencies here.
Just people being real morons. I mean, I'll say for the record that, you know, I have no affection for Country Bear Jamboree. Like, that could end tomorrow. It wouldn't change my life at all. You know, honestly, a Woody's Wild West show, that sounds charming. I wouldn't fight against that really at all. I don't have this same kind of, it was made by Walt and ergo it's pure and untouchable kind of stuff. I don't feel that way. I do feel like I do feel people's reaction to not wanting classics to be closed just because a lot of new stuff that tends to get made in theme parks these days involves a lot of screens. So true. I don't blame people for that gut reaction. I do think that there's a whole lot of park purists that are kind of insane. And I don't even know or believe if Country Bear Jamboree in and of its form will last forever, but I do wish that people to spread news, but I know that, like, rumors, especially rumors of classics being taken over by current properties, is such, like, it's like the easy way to get traffic. It's an easy thing to rile the internet up about, and it's like, be more responsible, dumbass.
Yeah, definitely true. I have stated before, for me, I really do like Country Bear Jamboree, but that's more because it's a childhood classic. It's more like I loved Country Bear Jamboree since I was very little, and that's why I have that personal attachment. But the idea of like for me, like what really seemed messed up is just the idea of replacing Country Bear Jamboree with a Toy Story marionette show. That just seems like something that doesn't make sense and would really not bode well with many fans of the Disney parks, whether it be casual or like longtime Disney purists. Like that's the part that doesn't make sense. If you want to make a Toy Story marionette show, like why not just do it at freaking Toy Story Land? But yeah, honestly, just overall with how this turned out, with all these rumors, and with WDW News Today, like the one thing, if I could give them one piece of advice, if there's one thing I just want to tell them, like honestly, if you want to regain some of your reputation after all this crap, honestly, just stick to the facts. Like if you're here, like if you've heard about a rumor regarding the possibility that something could happen, but Disney has not confirmed it, if they didn't say anything about it, then shut the fridge up. Then just don't do it at all. Because I understand with rumors, you want to have like the glory of saying that if you were right, then you win big time, saying that, hey, look at this, we were the first to say it and we turned out to be right all along. I understand that glory.
Just so dumb that is the motivation behind like everybody that says anything online is just the ability later to say, I called it first. It's like, already right now, like everybody online, fight against the urge to be that person, because 90% of the time, like unless you're dropping something that's actually like important to the world at large, that like the world needs to know, it's like, what are you doing? Who are you helping?
Oh my god, yeah. You know, you just made me realize that it's a like the comment section when people go first, it seems a lot more addictive than expected.
Yeah, like I've never understood why people do that.
Yeah, me neither.
It's not like that's like honestly, as just letting people know, like as a content creator, when I read comments, I want to read comments that are interesting or on the shallowest level, even complimentary, or that's not how you say that. I want to read things interesting. I don't want to read a bunch of a-holes saying first. That doesn't mean anything to me. You're just wasting time in my comment section. I don't care.
Yeah, that is true. That is definitely true. So overall, I think I could safely say that this has been the craziest news regarding the Disney parks and stuff like that. Like, hopefully this nightmare for Disney will end, that people can be can rest easy with all the with Tiki Room and Country Bears. Like, we could be all safe with that, and hopefully we'll just move on, just maybe without using WDW News Today as a legitimate source.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I can't use it. Apparently I've been blocked. Alright, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask what you guys think about this whole piece of craziness regarding the Country Bears rumor and that Enchanted Tiki Room rumor. Are you guys happy that those attractions are not going away? How do you feel about the whole situation? Just let me know what you guys think. Alright, let me see. This is all bullshit. I don't believe these kinds of rumors with replacements of attractions being replaced until I see it. All that matters is that I cannot wait to try out that Tron Light Cycle ride. Oh, yes, that is true. That is.
Wait, is that a real thing?
Yeah. In Walt Disney, yeah. For the 50th anniversary of Disney World, there is actually going to be a Tron Light Cycle attraction. Like, they are going to bring
That's
that.
cool.
Oh yeah. It really is. Like, it's actually a copy of the one from Shanghai Disneyland. But if you see clips of that, oh my god, like it's gonna be worth it.
Oh my god! You know what I wish they would do?
What?
I literally had this idea the minute I thought of it, just for fun knows. Do you know Mystic Manor in China?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, they should make that, but make it the Mystery Shack for Gravity Falls!
Oh my god, yeah. Oh.
I want that! I want that so much! I thought of it, it's like, no, I've totally thought about this. Like, not only could you, like, blatantly have Grunkle Stan having, like voiceovers in the gift shop about everything being overpriced.
Yes.
But your cars could be golf carts. Oh my god, it would be amazing. They could do basically what they do in that ride, but they could do it with Gravity Falls. Oh my god, I want them to do that.
Oh
I
my
don't even
God,
care if I don't get
yes.
credit for it. I don't care if I don't get credit for it. I just want somebody in Disney World to do that, like,
Oh
now.
my god, just anything Gravity Falls at Disney World or at Disneyland, I would be so happy with. But yeah, like a legitimate Mystery Shack ride, that would be epic. I would be so down for it.
Oh my god. And then there's like a thing you can do where like the golf carts would go on one of those things in the motion simulators where they kind of lean the cars back so it makes you feel like you're kind of floating to try and simulate the scene where like gravity goes down.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's things you could do that would be amazing with that. Like, I'm not an engineer. I'm not an Imagineer. I don't have an engineering degree.
Like
but...
a little moment in the grand finale where you go a little bit into the Weird Mageddon.
Yeah, I know. That would be so good.
Oh,
I mean, I guess the biggest argument against it would be like, no, spoilers. It's like, go watch the show.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
if it gets you to watch the show. That's one thing I have against spoilers is that I totally get people's like allergic to spoilers, but to a certain degree, if spoilers get you to go watch it, go spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. Let's see. I'm glad the Tiki Room replacement with Moana rumor is fake. It's perhaps my all-time favorite attraction at the Magic Kingdom. I don't care if they tampered it with cartoony birds from Arabia or Africa like in 1998, or with a koala-like alien like in Tokyo. I would be really miffed if they replaced Tiki Room with a completely different attraction. Or actually, you know what? Like, okay, this would be so... Like, I want this just because of complete trolling reasons. We need to bring back the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management, but with Alan Tudyk and John Oliver. I'm just saying. Would you be for this?
Are you referring to characters that John Oliver and Alan Tudyk played, or are you just them?
No, well, I mean, either or. No, because... Do you know Enchanted Tiki Room under new management?
I did not know that.
No, you don't. Oh my god. Holy
I don't know
crap.
about that.
That was oh my god. That was an interesting piece of Disney history. It was literally the Enchanted Tiki Room show, but literally you got Iago and Zazu coming in, and they pretty much took over the whole show. Like, that was the whole point. It was all about Iago and Zazu dominating the Enchanted Tiki Room.
That actually sounds really funny. Okay, just a minute. There's a comment here that thinks that I said there's no such thing as incorrect news. That is not what I said. I said I am always, at the bare minimum, open to the possibility that something might be true just because of the fact that I am aware that I am not all-knowing. And that is something that more people need to think about. You need to acknowledge the fact that you are not all-knowing and you don't know everything, because there are tons of people on the internet that are just absolutely positive that they know 100%. They knew what happened. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you don't. So I believe in science. I'm a hardcore science. I'm a hardcore not fake news. And I know definitely about the kinds of sites that regularly produce fake news. I am very aware of that. But I am all for the thing where generally speaking, you should always go for the one for which there is the most solid evidence from credible sources, but you should always be open to the possibility that you are wrong. Because the worst people on the internet are the people that go around saying that they are never wrong, that never apologize, and never admit that they've done anything bad. Do not be these people.
Dang, I didn't expect you to be so riled up. Like, honestly, a part of my brain was thinking, like, you know, they might be saying that just for trolling purposes, right? I'm open to that. I don't think that, by the way, there's a way that, to a certain degree, I think that there's a degree where I look at the way to which certain people write comments to tell, like, how intelligent they are. Like, this is a relatively well-structured sentence. This person is not an idiot. Yeah. Although the only difference,
I mean, trolls can disguise themselves. I get that. But that's just something I want. That's just one of those things I've wanted to say to, like, the internet as a whole for a while, because so many insecurities off people's communication on the internet is born out of just not be willing to admit that you made a mistake. And
Oh, yeah,
right,
no, that is
so
true.
many like official people, they get into such crap for saying, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't say anything wrong. He's like, don't be that person. Apologize. You get so much. You don't realize how many people online get more flack for trying to deny that they did anything wrong than just admitting that you made a mistake. You come off as a much more likable, real person when you apologize. And I don't mean that. And I know there's plenty of like fake apology crap out there. I get it, but just don't.
I am so sorry.
So,
Rate, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, totally. There are fake apology videos, but just don't be one of the people that just pretends that you didn't do anything.
And may I say, case in point, WDW News Today with what they just did.
Yep, that's exactly what they did. Man. They said that is literally what they did right now.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you there. Although the only difference is that sometimes I'm not scared to admit that sometimes I could be an idiot, so yeah, I'm not afraid to go in that direction. Okay, but anyways, now that we got that done, I think we've gone all full circle with this little news at the parks. But now it's time we're going to go back into the realm of animation. And with this one, this is actually going to be regarding a pretty well-known director, and so far someone who recently got some leverage in its popularity based on, thanks to his Marvel movie. But now we might see him coming back in the realm of superheroes, but in a completely different way, and in a completely animated way as well. And I'm talking, of course, about Taika Waititi doing an animated Flash Gordon movie. Yes, Fox has signed on Taika Waititi to go and write and direct a animated Flash Gordon feature film. Now, right now, Taika Waititi has been pretty busy. In fact, it has in my article of Deadline, they did go in length about how he is working very, very hard in order to go and create his next movie, Jojo Rabbit. But from there, it didn't necessarily confirm when that's going to be starting, but it did state that it has been quite a while since companies really wanted to go and create a Flash Gordon movie. In fact, for those of you who are not necessarily all that familiar with Flash Gordon, let me go and read this little text here from Deadline stating, Flash Gordon returns to its origins here. It began in 1934 as a science fiction comic strip created and originally drawn by Alex Raymond to compete with Buck Rogers. Earth is threatened by a collision with the planet Mongo, and Flash is sent off in a rocket ship in an attempt to stop the disaster. He's pitted against Mongo's tyrannical ruler, Ming the Merciless. The comic strip led to a serial starring Buster Crabbe and multiple movies and television series. The 1980 film got some hero worship by Seth MacFarlane's live-action animation hybrid, Ted. And of course, if Flash Gordon isn't all that familiar, then you're probably familiar with the theme, which was actually done by Freddie Mercury and Queen. Flash!
Heroes of the universe! Wow, whatever the word is. I that's probably not the word, but okay.
Well, yeah. Masters of the Universe? Is that it?
Masters of the Universe. No, you're right. I think that's it.
No, that can't be it. That's He-Man.
Oh.
I don't think, maybe it could be it, but I don't know. I'm just making a joke.
I don't know. I don't know Flash. I know what the theme song sounds like. I don't know what the words are.
Yeah. We just know those two first things. Flash. Okay, I'm done.
Something universe.
Yeah, exactly. I completely forgot about that part. All right, but anyway, also on a side note, what is actually very interesting to note is that this article also brought up something that did happen last month, that Taika Waititi did quit the production of another animated feature that he was supposed to direct, which is called Bubbles, a stop-motion animated feature from Netflix, which was supposed to be about the life of Bubbles and seeing his point of view of life, who is Michael Jackson's pet chimpanzee. Taika Waititi stated that he quit due to scheduling, but let's be honest, folks, especially with the fact that Netflix also quit the production, we all know that Leaving Neverland did play a little part on that.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, it would have been a great movie, but considering with what Michael Jackson has done, maybe we don't need to know what Bubbles has seen in life.
Hmm.
Yeah, but going back into the Flash Gordon thing, considering that Taika Waititi is going to be involved with this, do you have any thoughts on this movie, on this idea?
Generally speaking, I like Taika. I like him a lot. I really like what we did in the Shadows. I like the show that's being made with it currently. I loved Thor Ragnarok. I'm all for him doing stuff.
All right.
I genuinely kind of, and while I generally kind of am okay with the idea of like bringing back something, like super campy like Flash Gordon. I think I'm more like in favor of bringing back something that's like in the style of Flash Gordon. I'm not super thrilled about Flash Gordon particularly, just because there's this trend that happens when you reboot things. Like they reboot things, lots of things that are, they reboot them mostly for because making original things is scary, and making reboots, there's name recognition and stuff. But stuff, especially like Flash Gordon, there's so much stuff in there that's like, his villain is literally called Ming the. So much stuff about that story that you would need to alter to work it into being made in a modern day. And there are so many people that are already like, I don't like thing change, despite the fact of whether or not it's for a good reason or not. So it's like sometimes it's like apparently the name recognition is worth more than the controversy around changes, which seems to be how pretty much everything works. But
yeah.
But then again, with Taika, like, I'm all for him. I'm all for him doing whatever. This could be great. This could be amazing, despite whatever would happen. But at the same time, I'm like, I'd be perfectly happy if he was working on any animated film, not specifically a Flash Gordon one.
Yeah, I do see what you mean, but then again, like with your argument about the with the controversy of changes and the content itself is a little bit controversial in itself. Technically, it wouldn't necessarily be the first time that this happened. Technically, the steps that you have mentioned and the controversy, a lot of that happened at the same time with something like Doctor Strange. Like they went through like those changes, considering that there's a little bit of race issues related to some of the characters, so there was that aspect. So it wouldn't necessarily be the first time that they would go and do this. But if I could be very honest, when I heard about this, like with Taika Waititi trying to do an animated Flash Gordon film, honestly, I feel like this is Fox and Disney trying to make their own version of Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse in a way, because you got to really think about it, because we got this, like, technically this is an animated superhero movie, and chances are they want to take it mildly seriously, and then you bring in someone like Taika Waititi, which he has already established he could do well with superhero films, but especially, he's a very stylized director. He has a very
true.
He has a very unique approach in filmmaking. So, with his approach, and considering what he can do with something like Flash Gordon, like if he brings his Thor Ragnarok touch onto that, then I'm sure it would be something that they want to do something a little bit similar to Spider-Verse. They want to make it highly stylized. They want to really pay homage to the comic aspect. So they want to go and lean towards that. That's my prediction with what they could do with this Flash Gordon movie.
That's a really good point, because you're totally right. Like, again, I like the idea of something like in the style of Flash Gordon, and as you said, Taika's a very stylistic director. And obviously, like, Disney's not an idiot about things when it comes to things like changes. So again, like, all things considered, like, it'll probably be fine. That's just one of those things that's kind of in the back of my brain. And sometimes just the rebooting stuff from the 50s, it's like, do you need to? Is the name recognition really worth that much to you? But you know what? If it turns out great, I'm all for that. Then I'll be looking forward to see how it turns out. And somebody earlier in the about directing a Ninja Turtles movie, it's like, yes, I want to see that. I am all about that. I want an animated Ninja Turtles movie. I want that more than Flash Gordon. I want him
Would
to
you
just.
like TMNT? Would you like to watch C Company's TMNT?
Yes, I would love to see that. I would love that in the style of Spider-Verse. I would like a lot of movies in the style of Spider-Verse. Obviously.
Have you seen Weinstein Company's TMNT, by the way?
You mean the 2007 one? Yeah. Sure. No, it's not. It's not great. I just like, but I like Ninja Turtles. I want the general idea of a theatrical movie that is specifically animated just because we get these live action Ninja Turtles out of our freaking brains. Yeah. Like, what is with you people with needing to see live action turtles? I do not understand you.
Well, then again, like Jim Henson did a great job with it with his version.
He did the great job on the first one, all things considered. Like, I'm not going to fight that against anyone. It's just that I am an animated person. I like things better that way. I would like to see a TMNT movie that's animated well by a really creative director. I like it when the turtles are taken seriously, I guess, is what I mean, which is a stupid thing to say because the title of the series is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I completely understand you. I completely understand where you're coming from. And it would be a great idea if he would do that, but I guess like duty calls and he has to go and do Flash Gordon. And honestly, with the stuff that I've pointed out, that this could be like another Spider-Verse where it's a highly stylized animated superhero film, I'm not necessarily saying that as a bad thing. I feel like, honestly, these are the right steps to make something pretty awesome. Honestly, I look at this and I feel pretty optimistic with what they could do with this Flash Gordon movie. Yeah, there will be some changes in order to make it a little more politically correct for our modern times, but honestly, I feel like Taika Waititi would be smart enough to know how to incorporate these changes and actually still make them work, not just for the sake of the movie itself, but also for the context of Flash Gordon as a whole. So yeah, overall, I think this could, this sounds like it's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, it's cool.
It's like, we will see.
Yeah, we'll see. We don't know.
So, I mean, obviously, we obviously saw how, like, I guess Iron Man 3 also, Mandarin was a very stereotyped villain, and they did something really new with that.
Yeah, good point.
So I believe them when they say if they can try and make it okay for modern times. Like, again, I like him as a director. I'm all for seeing what he does with animation. I'm all for it.
Yeah, that will be great to see. Now, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to know what you think now. What do you think about this animated Flash Gordon by Taika Waititi? Do you think it's a good idea? Are you a little more cautious about it? Do you want to see this? Do you not? Let me know what you all think. Now, let's see now. I'm looking forward to Taika's Flash Gordon animated movie on Disney Plus. Well, there's no confirmation if it is going to be on Disney Plus, but I am worried that it will be like John Carter, where the source material was centuries old and some of the concepts and themes won't translate well in this modern era. Yeah, you do bring up a good point. That could be like the worst case scenario. At worst, this could be like another John Carter, and Disney might end up with another major flop in their hands. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of hard. From what I know, I don't know. I do know that the original isekai. Do you know the term isekai?
Isekai? No, not really.
Oh, that's an anime term that just refers to when any story about a human being that gets teleported to like a fantasy world.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And there's so much of that, and like John Carter was one of the that like launched that entire genre. So it's like sometimes just because it's the original, just because we have so many stories like that, this savior from one planet, you were sent here to save our mystical world, and it's like, and they didn't. From what I tell of John Carter, they didn't do anything interesting with that idea. And from what I know about. And again, what we're looking at here, the big thing of why this is interesting is not necessarily because I don't think that Flash Gordon, even on a conceptual level has ever been something extraordinary in terms of story. I think it is literally all about style. And blending Taika with that, I think, is the real appeal here. As long as you manufacture a story that works and you don't take it literally, which again, don't take the original story literally. There's a whole bunch of really dated stuff in there.
Exactly.
But it's true that and that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Take stuff from like decades and decades and decades ago. Because not just that, what was the other thing that Disney did? The Lone Ranger.
Oh god,
That was so old that people did not care. And it was, but also, you know, it was really ugly, brown, and Johnny Depp and stupid Birdhead.
It's trying to be Pirates in the Caribbean for cowboys. That's basically what it is.
But again, it was so gray and colorless and boring, among all of the other stuff. So, you know, that person's totally right to that, and to be like suspicious, because like, again, kind of like how no casting choice can be wrong until it comes out. No movie is technically good or bad until it comes out, but it could be garbage. But we're hoping, we're keeping our good hopes up here because we like Taika.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I just saw someone actually, someone put in the correct lyrics. It's Flash, savior of the universe. That's what it is.
That's the other one I was thinking of. I was literally... okay, you know what? You know what I just did?
What?
I did the thing where I tried to defend my actions by saying I totally called it first, even though I didn't actually say anything.
Lord.
I didn't need to say that.
Hypocrite!
So, you know what?
Burn the hypocrite!
I did. Oh, no, bad me. No, thank you for confirming that, though, because I did not know that for a fact. It's just something that floated in, but thank you for confirming information that I in fact did not know.
There you go.
Thank you, commenter.
Yeah, it was just like when you were talking, I saw that, I was like, oh, this is it! That is the comment! That is Savior! Alright, let's see now. There was another interesting one that I saw. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know too much about Flash Gordon, but I have heard a little about him when I was younger. Often or not, I would mistake him for the Flash from the DC Comics. Maybe my mother has, but maybe this animated feature will get me into something my mother saw as a kid, just like Star Trek. Okay, well, that's an optimistic way of viewing it. Let's see. Yeah, and by the way, Cell, I don't know if it's a little late to help improve that, but they do mention that your mic is going a bit on and off. Just a little heads up on that.
Okay, I did kind of shift my position. I'll go back to 4.
Okay.
Hopefully I hope that fixes that. But you know what? If it doesn't fix it, there's not much I can do while we're still airing. So I'm just hoping.
We can only
it's behaving.
Yeah, exactly. We can only work with what we got. So, I mean, sometimes like that's the struggles of doing live. Trust me. Like trust me. I've went through so much worse. So don't worry. Like what you're dealing with, it's honestly fine. That's just minor inconvenience. All right. So with that said, though, I think we're pretty much all good with this one, and it's now time that we shall jump onto the grand finale. And before we get into this one, I just want to have a little bit of a reminder. Sel, just out of curiosity, what is your opinion on Teen Titans Go to the movies?
The movie I was fine with.
Okay.
I generally did have a good time with that. And you know what? And I don't know if we necessarily want to jump into the show. I admit that when it first come on, I was kind of into it. And then there was just like a string of episodes that really rubbed me the wrong way. And I was never one of those people going on tirades about it. I do have a couple of videos where I take cheap shots. I admit that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of been a thing where I've been able to pull back a little bit. It's like, you know what? Every once in a while, there's an episode that's genuinely funny and creative. But sometimes it takes a while to find those. And sometimes I just got to say it's not for me. But good job on the movie. Good job on the movie. The movie was funny. It wasn't like spectacular, but it was funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't necessarily great, but you could tell that the people behind it, like, they did put in the effort to actually make a legitimate movie and to give it purpose that it is a film. But it seems that right now, we actually got another Teen Titans movie coming up, but it's not going to be released in theaters, though. And it's not necessarily a full sequel, but it seems to be the long-awaited crossover that people want to have. So with all that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans.
Titans Go!
So that was the trailer for Teen Titans Go to the movies. all right, so going back to what we were talking about, Cell, you only skimmed through the trailer, like you didn't see it as a whole, or?
So I don't know why I did that. Maybe I thought, if I did it on the cast, it would be a fresh reaction. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of going through it kind of with low audio on my headphones right now.
Oh, I see. Are you done
So
with the trailer, or?
it's kind of weird. Trigun's there for two versions of Trigun is weird. I mean, they mentioned something about the multiverse. Sure. Like generally, if you're asking what I think of the concept, sure. You know what? I'm honestly kind of interested. I'm interested to see what they do with this. But I mean, obviously, the whole thing, like the whole thing about Teen Titans Go versus the original Teen Titans, is definitely like an internet thing. So, and so this whole thing of like whatever they do with it, where somebody's obviously not going to be satisfied, because obviously they're going to do a thing where they try to play like, this is why people don't like you, and it's like, this is why people don't like you. It's like, but we'll acknowledge each other semi equally so we don't piss off anybody on the internet, even though literally everybody's going to get pissed off.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the reaction that I kind of got with this. It's the fact that I feel like we are going to be getting a little bit of the same thing as Teen Titans Go to the movies, except this one is going to be made for a very, very niche audience. At least with Teen Titans Go to the movies, like, it was a whole satire and a whole homage to modern superhero films, like poking fun a little bit of both DC and Marvel and all superheroes in general on the big screen. Whereas this one in particular, though, with what they're doing here, I mean, I know they hinted this out at the end of Teen Titans Go to the movies with that little clue that all of the original Teen Titans are going to be back. Some people are thinking
this is what they meant. They didn't mean the original series. They meant this movie. Wow, what a
yeah.
Nice job, guys. I mean, I didn't believe them for a second. I didn't believe at all that, like, hey, if this movie does well, we'll bring back the originals. And it's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know for a fact. It's like, dude, we know that the internet does not deserve to have a Teen Titans season 6. So I knew very well ever since I saw that little teaser. It's like, yeah, they would do something like this. I thought it would just be a little TV special. I will give them that. I am a little bit surprised that they are legitimately doing like a whole movie, even though it is just direct to DVD and Blu-ray. But still, it's just like, I knew that they were going this direction, and looking at this, I feel like that's exactly what it is. It's just gonna be a little satire on Teen Titans Go and Teen Titans. It's just gonna be like just a little satire and an homage to the entire franchise of the animated Teen Titans. And a little bit at the same time, I do notice that they're gonna dive a little bit into like parodying multiverses, so making fun of stuff of like Avengers or a little bit of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that they're going to go towards that kind of parody and making fun of those aspects of like crossing over with your own self-character and stuff like that. And especially
there's so much humor you can get out of multiverse. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
No, but there was even that little moment in the finale where you do see like a whole bunch of these characters coming together, like not only the Teen Titans Go characters and the original Teen Titans, but also like you look in the backgrounds, you see all different kinds of like Teen Titans characters. Like you see like animal Teen Titans, like the bunny cyborg or the pigeon raven, or even in the backgrounds you see like the original comic characters of like Starfire and Raven. Like it is gonna be also something that they are gonna mock. Like
that's a lot of really neat detail in there, actually.
Yeah, I will give it that. Like so far, what we see in the back, it's not. Yeah, it's not that bad. Like I can tell that like artistically they're gonna do something unique. They're gonna do something cool and something fun. But honestly, in terms of the whole tone, what I see throughout, like it's definitely gonna be leaning a lot more towards Teen Titans Go, more so than it is Teen Titans. Because, like, even with the original Teen Titans characters, like, you could see a bit of their silly side, especially, like, the scene when they have to go and fight against Santa, and like the original Cyborg is on the side going, it's like, it's Santa Claus right there. It's like, yeah, you could tell that there's not going to be moments where they will take themselves seriously at all. It's just going to be like, it's going to be a lot. Like, if you're coming in expecting the 2003 Teen Titans, yeah, you'll probably be a bit disappointed. And I think the main thing is that you're entering another Teen Titans Go movie. That's the big thing you got to expect.
Right. And it is such a, again, just again, because it's the entire premise that the internet's already kind of up in arms against it. It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to say against the original series? Which and like you said, the original series could be funny too, goofy. So even if the originals are goofy, that won't necessarily be out of character, but that's easily going to be some of the most abused phrase that's probably going to use. And it's not even like, even the Teen Titans Go characters in their incarnations, like aside from occasionally being jerks, they're not completely different from the original characters that they were. There's obviously shades to them. They're like probably definitely Cyborg, more than all of them, probably is almost exactly the same of how he used to be. Actually, the thing I saw when this reminded me of is, funny enough, we were just talking about Ninja Turtles. That Ninja Turtles has done this more than once. In a while ago, they had something called Turtles Forever, where they had the 2003 incarnation of the Turtles crossover with the original 87 Turtles, and that special is kind of infamous because it really took like a hatchet to the 87 Turtles. It really like made them see like they were just goofy idiots that didn't know that they were doing, and they would just ate pizza and didn't fight well, which not only was kind of did a lot of people who are fans of that series that bothered them, but I, as someone who has watched all of the 03 series, I can tell you there were moments where even these roided up versions of the cartoon Turtles, they made stupid jokes and they made high fives at inappropriate times. So it's like, don't act like you're and they had a whole thing where they crossed over with like the original comic book stuff, and that was fun. And then the 2012 series has done the same thing where it's crossed over with the 87 series twice, and they were a lot more balanced about it, where they were like, but they still took their shots because of things like they don't use their weapons because of the way that the series was made. So this definitely reminds me of something like that. It's just, but because again, it's so loaded. People have such loaded opinions about the whole thing between these two franchises. So it's obviously going to still kind of,
and
people are still going to be like, You robbed them. You made the original Teen Titans seem not as cool as they were, and I can already see some slight things with the design of the original Titans, that like the lines are a little bit thinner and the design isn't like perfectly original. I can already see people getting massively up in arms about that, even though it's not worth it. No, but you know what? I will watch this. I am interested to see, even if it ends up being a trash pile, which I don't think it will be. I think that the movie proved that they do have writing chops when it comes to these feature-length things, and they are aware of how the internet looks at them. They basically use the entire marketing strategy that everybody hates us is literally the jumping off point of that movie. So I think this will be fine. I don't know. I don't think it'll just because I don't think it'll be amazing. But I think it'll be fine. I'm interested to see what.
Yeah, I do get what you mean. And, you know, looking at this, and I think an important thing to note is that technically this is not necessarily the first time that they have made comparisons to themselves with the original Teen Titans. Like, I know that in the show, they have often done that. They would jump around with, like, how they were compared to how they used to be. Like, the big thing about it is that this is the first time we see full-on interactions with Teen Titans Go and the original 2003 series. And from there, I would like to add into what you stated before about the strong emotions. I mean, it definitely is true. In fact, it has pretty much became like this infamous stereotype among the cartoon community that people just love ranting about Teen Titans Go and always making comparisons to how it used to be with the 2003 series. Like, it pretty much grew to that level where it's kind of like a cliche at this point when you see cartoon reviewers or people in the cartoon community complaining about elements of Teen Titans Go. But from there, I would say I'm not necessarily as interested or like fully in a rush to go and check out this version of to watch this movie in particular, because as I said before, this looks like it is made especially for the Teen Titans fans. Like, whether it be if you're a fan of Teen Titans Go or the original Teen Titans, like, it is made for that particular audience right there. And for me, like, I have seen some of the original Teen Titans, and I'm like, it's all right. Like, it can have its good moments, but it's like, it's not necessarily something that kind of like grasps me as much as like many of the other shows that Cartoon Network had at the time. So it's like, yeah, it was there, but it's not like, I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorites that I had to watch religiously. So honestly, on that regard, I could see it have its audience, and at best, I would expect that this would be something that it's fine, especially like if they are going towards that satire element, if they're going towards that satire narrative like they did in Teen Titans Go. I wouldn't necessarily expect this to come out as bad per se, but I can imagine this is going to be something that will have its audience, and especially with the screenshot at the end, it will definitely have its creative moments, especially with the multiverse aspect, that I can imagine they will have a lot of fun to do. They will have a lot of fun to create and probably expand upon it with all the other Teen Titans characters. Especially, I think I noticed, like, I don't know if this is from that series, but like, did the Teen Titans appear in Young Justice? Because I did notice in the back, like, there are the other animated incarnations of, like, Robin, Beast Boy, and Cyborg. Or maybe
the same a lot of the same, not all of them. Starfire isn't in Young Justice, and but Robin and I don't think Raven is, but I know that Cyborg and Beast Boy and Robin are definitely in Young Justice. And I know that there was an episode of Teen Titans Go where Aquaman there was the episode about them being so serious, and there's literally a bit where Aquaman from Young Justice comes in and goes, "You guys are such jokes," and they go, "Hey, you guys do silly stuff too," and it's like, yeah, but we can be serious. You can't be serious for a little second, and then for 1 second, and then the rest of the episode was this over-the-top parody of them being overly serious and overly dark, which, you know what, in and of itself wasn't even like a bad point, because there are so many shows that are like dark for the sake of being dark, that like are overly serious. It's in the comic books especially. There are so many comic books, like especially made in the mid-90s, where everybody's like super roided and super dark, and like Spawn or whatever. It's a lot of stuff made by Rob Liefeld.
Oh, you know what you just reminded me of? I will give this movie bonus points if there's like a little cameo or a little crossover where you see Teen Titans Go with the real life, the Titans series?
Yeah,
No?
I don't think that'll happen, but like that would be like super, super meta if they were able to do that. I just don't think they will.
Yeah, good point. No, I would just give them major bonus points if they were able to find a way to also include them as well, just for the sake of jokes. Oh, yeah. But overall, I would say with Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans, I look at this and I'm like, well, it's made, like, I can tell that it's made for a niche audience, but I can imagine for that niche audience, it'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be fine, barring they make, like, a massive mix-up, which I'm not saying that won't happen, just... but my stance on this is not that I'm, like, excited for it, or even that I think it's great. It's more like, I'm interested to see how they're going to handle this.
Yeah, good point.
Which is kind of is more of a curiosity than expectations.
Yeah, and
I am coming at this relatively low. I mean, I generally think, again, like I said, the movie proved that these guys are not terrible writers. You know, they've proven that they have comedy chops. They've proven that they know the original series to a certain extent. I believe that they can make something. There'll be something about this that's genuinely intriguing and interesting. I just don't. We're just gonna have to see. We're just gonna have to see how that's gonna go.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a confirmed release date for it, but I'm guessing probably sometime this year we will have this movie. Alright, so with all that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to know what you guys think about the trailer that we just saw of Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. Is this a movie that you would be interested in watching? Is this something that you would rather not have? Just let me know what you think about this trailer. Did you like it? Did you not? Well, let's see what the chat wall has to say. Let's see now. It's weird how they made a sequel and the last movie came out just last year. I mean, people hate Teen Titans Go because it's not the original and it's more cartoony. Maybe the haters will have a good taste out of this movie and stop ranting, but original fans of the old show, it's a 50-50 chance possible that they might just like it or just bash it. I mean, like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you just look it up on YouTube. Like, you just look up Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans, and there's already rant videos about it. It would not surprise me. Let's see, what else do we got?
I will say that looking... Sorry, no, go ahead. Read the comments as they go by.
You go.
I will say that looking from what I can see of the DVD cover, I'm actually kind of okay that the original Robin is stepping on Robin's face, just because if there is one thing that has constantly rubbed me about the Go series is that how Robin specifically so often is just such a horrible garbage human being. So like I can totally see a situation where like everybody's fine. Wow, I think the movie might go is that everybody's fine. Like all of the other Teen Titans, like they get along well with their counterparts. Like we're best buddies. Like that, I can totally see that. I can see Robin specifically being a massive tool about it, and that just seems in character with the rest of the series. And if it's a series, if it's they're aware of their own meta status as much as they are. Hopefully they're like aware of that critique. And maybe this movie will even address the fact that their Robin can be just such a garbage human sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So I guess we'll just see how that goes out.
Yeah. If they could tone down the Teen Titans Go aspect of this crossover, I might check it out. However, if it's saturated with Teen Titan Go's style and humor, I'll have to completely pass on it. Yeah, I don't know, because so far with this trailer, I've been getting so much Teen Titans Go vibes on it, more so than any other Teen Titans variant.
No, it's a Teen Titans Go product that's gonna like feature the original cast. It's not. Yeah. This is a Teen Titans Go movie.
Then again, I guess there is a reason why Teen Titans Go is first, and then it's Teen Titans. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see now. Honestly, Teen Titans Go vs. Teen Titans might be a good movie, since the Teen Titans Go movie was pretty good, and this crossover could work. I would rather have a season 6 of the original Titans, but hopefully this does well for another season. Or the movie could be a train wreck, similar to Turtles Forever. The movie is direct-to-video, so this will be fine. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's another important thing to remember, is the fact that this is direct to video, and I guess like since it is direct to video, there won't have that much of an importance or that much like they're not going to go closer to detail as much as they did in the movie, so I guess there would be a different approach for that. Let's see now. Next up, this crossover looks decent. The original Teen Titans was great. I thought Teen Titans Go was not amazing, but just decent. Knowing the internet, they probably want the original Titans to kill the modern Titans. The original Titans was going to make fun of the modern Titans, and probably vice versa. Also, I bet there's going to be a moment in the movie where the Teen Titans for the original 1960s comic are going to show up and go after both Titans. Maybe. That could be a possibility. Let's see. I thought this trailer looks interesting, although I will never be a fan of Teen Titans Go, but as a original Teen Titans fan, I might give it a shot of checking it out just to see how this crossover plays out. I hope it gives me a surprisingly good one, like with Teen Titans Go to the movies. If not, then I would see this as a waste of time, but for now, I really hope they don't really screw this up, including with original counterparts too. Okay. And I'll go and read one more comment. To give credit to Teen Titans Go, if this wasn't for them, I wouldn't have gotten involved with the original Teen Titans, and I saw the entire series afterwards on Cartoon Network app. Plus, their movie was enjoyable, so this show isn't as bad as people think. Who knows, this might be a fun watch. Alright, sounds good. And I think with all that said, that should wrap things up for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. So, Cell, let me just say thank you so much for joining me in this episode. It has been fantastic, and you really helped things out to make this absolutely fun.
All right, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun, too. Thanks for inviting me.
And also, by the way, I'm sure that there might be people listening or watching this that they really appreciate your contribution so much so that they would want to follow you. So if there are any places on the internet that people could go and follow you specifically, where can they find you?
Well, obviously, the easiest thing is just to take my name and put it into a Google search bar and find the links for yourself. But obviously, yes, I have a YouTube channel and a Twitter. Feel free to follow me or not. I'm not your mom. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yeah. All right. That is perfect. So with all that said, I would like to say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully we will have more craziness happening in the next episode. So until next time, see you later, dude.